I'll say.
Yeah, how about you do a Kevin Spacey impression?
Isn't that how his voice goes? It's like, I do declare I am not guilty of being a pedophile.
Well, he's not guilty, because guilty is a legal term.
Okay,
assume,
allegedly I'm guilty.
of being a pedophile. Well, he also is an adult rapist,
Did
too.
you watch House of Cards?
No. Looks like shit.
I just always loved how, I mean, I guess everyone has, like, done this to death. But
What?
just the, like, turning to the camera and, like, you see here.
I'm turning the mic right now. You see, I actually do like getting my willy whacked by the fellas, by homeboys.
I don't really want to talk about House of Cards because it's like, what fucking year is it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, have you heard my bit about
House of Cards?
Orange is the New Black? It's like, yeah, okay, no one
Well,
cares.
here, check this out.
Do people still watch it? Is that still a show?
House of Cards is actually, it is fallen. The House of Cards has come tumbling down.
Has it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, things are pretty bad for Kevin Spacey right
Ah, that's what we call Joker's trick.
now. Yeah. Oh my God, Kevin Spacey Joker?
Kevin Spacey, Joker.
Wow, so serious.
I say, we live in a society.
And he's like, you want to know how I got these scars? And he turns to the camera, he's like, I painted them all myself. But we can keep that between you and me. He turns back, he's like, Batman, I did not kill that masseuse. That masseuse died from being a liar.
Kevin Spacey would be a bad Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, who would be...
Okay,
yeah.
sorry, change of storyline.
Now
This
we're
is
talking
no
about the
longer
Riddler.
no longer a pedophile podcast. This is Jokers only.
Yeah.
That's what's called Jokers only.
Welcome to Steelers Wheels. We got jokers on the left, the right, and center, baby.
Hey, that's just called Congress.
Yeah. How about Ed Buck Scarecrow? Trying to think of other Batman villains.
Scarecrow?
Ed Buck Bane.
Wait, Scarecrow's...
Scarecrow's Batman, right?
Is it?
I don't know.
Oh, turn your phone off, Brace.
Oh, it's Kevin Spacey.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Come here. Jeffrey Epstein.
I would say that they've succeeded.
How so?
Because he was never meant to be convicted.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so yeah, I get where you're going with this, but I'm saying there is one place he can be convicted.
The court of public opinion?
Well, I'm speaking a little more specifically. That's right, baby. Knock, knock, knock. TrueAnon is in session.
Oh, this is so stupid, Brace.
Yeah. And I declare him innocent.
I do declare Kevin Spacey guilty.
You can joke about this because you're not a 16-year-old boy, but I can't because he could get me at any time.
Hello, welcome.
To TrueAnon, the only podcast about House of Cards
And the Joker.
Welcome to Talking Joker.
Joker's trick.
Yeah. You won't stop saying Joker's trick.
No, I can't stop saying. I think it's a meme.
There has been so much tea spilled, Liz. Oh, by the way, my name, of course, is Kevin Spacey. Oh, but also Kevin James.
Kevin Bracey.
Yeah. This is my co-host.
Liz, just Liz.
And our producer, Young Chomsky.
This chick on Hinge is like, try to guess this about me, and her answer is my ethnicity.
That's the Joker's trick right there.
That's a trap. You should just say race is a construct.
You should be like, you should be like, are you from dumb bitchistan?
I am...
Okay.
So, we got lots.
Okay, you said
What?
from the beginning, just to rewind. Mm-hmm. You said some tea has been spilled.
So much. I am sopping wet with tea. And scalded.
I just snorted.
Yeah, I know. We're supposed to do that after the show, baby.
No, Brace.
She did just snort.
From laughter.
So Kevin Spacey has been declared innocent via murder. Ed Buck has been declared guilty via murder. And there is it's one of the most fucked up Epstein news dumps I've ever been dumped on with.
Gross. But yes, all of those things happened this week, and we're going to talk about them.
Yeah, so do you want to
First, why don't we, okay, let's start with Mr. Kevin Spacey. Now, astute listeners, as I am fond to say.
Yeah, you love saying that.
Well, I like to pat our listeners on the back.
Yeah.
Because they're the best and we love them. They might recall Kevin Spacey. We've mentioned him a couple times. One, because he's, of course, in the flight logs on the plane with Bill Clinton and obviously Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, Lolita Express, Africa trip. And he was accused of sexual assault last year, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I think in 2017, too.
Oh, gosh, time flies. Time
Yeah.
flies when you're accusing people of sexual assault.
Yeah, I was in 2017.
So he was accused. He got kind of like Me Too'd out of Hollywood.
Yeah, I think he got digitally like taken out of a movie he was supposed to be in, which is such a baller move.
And released an incredible video that we've mentioned.
Groundbreaking piece of art. And again, I'm sure there's not a single one of our listeners who hasn't watched it by now, but of course, check out Kevin Spacey, Let Me Be Frank.
Let me be frank.
BAFTA award-winning video.
Just incredible.
It's fantastic.
In which he kind of gives a very strange first-person monologue direct to the camera in the style of Frank Underwood.
His character from House of Cards.
From House of Cards. And is sipping possibly tea
I mean,
from a Queen Centennial mug, Royal Centennial mug, clearly a little nod to the royal family,
yeah.
as he tells the viewer, basically keep your trap shut, or I'm going to spill the tea that's in the mug, on you.
You know, it's interesting because the Queen's Centennial mug, actually, it said on it, keep calm and don't go to the police or I'll kill you. So it's a little prescient
I
there.
hate those keep calm. That's not a thing anymore, is it?
No.
I
we
think all
should-
those secretaries
yeah.
have moved on.
We should do keep calm and, no, we shouldn't do that. I can't even think of anything funny to
There's
say.
nothing funny to say.
They're
What are you,
horrible.
an Etsy store?
I wish.
Anyway.
More girls would like me.
So that's Kevin Spacey. He also recently came back in the news. He did a performance piece in the UK, right?
Yeah. No, it was in Greece, I want to say.
Okay. And it was like at a museum opening. And he
Yeah.
did this very bizarre,
Long.
very long, like romantic, long, epic poem.
That I skipped almost entirely through.
It was like 10 minutes.
I don't
Who's
wanna
got
watch
the
that.
time?
Yeah. I mean, we probably should because it's our show. But we don't. I don't have the time, even so. He's not going to, like, admit to anything during the poem.
It was just very dramatic and very silly. So he's very strange. Anyway, yesterday, no, 2 days ago, no, 3 days ago, no, wait, it doesn't matter because we don't know when you're listening to this. Kevin Spacey's accuser, what happened to him, Brace?
Died.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's no longer with us.
No longer with us. And even curiouser, Kevin Spacey's legal team released a statement prior to the victim's family or lawyers releasing a statement.
I believe the victim actually just started suing. No, it was about a year ago that the victim started suing Kevin Spacey. He says that Kevin Spacey had forced him to grab his genitals during a massage session. Sounds a little Travolta-ish.
Yeah, sounds a lot of people-ish.
Yeah.
A
So
little Epstein-ish.
yeah, well, yeah, I know. It's if anyone ever asks you to give a massage to them or to get a massage with them, or even says I'm in school for massage therapy, that person should be in prison.
To be clear, this is a different accuser than the one
Anthony Rapp.
in Massachusetts, in Nantucket.
That was Anthony Rapp, right?
Yes.
The child actor. Well, no longer.
Yeah, those charges were dropped.
in a very weird way.
Yeah, very strange. So this was the lawsuit by John Doe, who is the victim who is now recently deceased.
Is John Doe his real name?
Yes, Brace.
We can cut that.
No, we're going to keep that in. So this was in a... oh, for God's sakes.
Sorry, it's to remind me to take out the trash. Which we're doing by doing the show.
So Spacey's team released a statement saying that John Doe had died. And shortly after, John Doe's lawyer, Jeannie Harrison, sent a lengthy statement in response saying, "It is true that Mr. Doe recently died. His untimely death was, to his family, a devastating shock that they are struggling to process and is so recent that they have not yet held his funeral service. Out of professional responsibility, we notified Spacey's counsel of Mr. Doe's passing. We explained our intent to allow his family more time to get past their immediate paralyzing grief and begin settling his affairs before we filed a death notice with the court. Spacey ignored our request for compassion and filed the notice yesterday without our consent."
That is cold.
Very strange.
Yeah. You remember from the last court case that this fucking freak sick motherfucker was in.
Oh my God, stop.
The accuser was ordered to turn over a cell phone as evidence, which apparently had text in it from Spacey to him, probably something disgusting. And then he lost the cell phone, which sounds to me like Kevin Spacey was like, "You should lose that cell phone or I will kill you."
Right.
With a gun. Allegedly, I think Kevin Spacey definitely said that to him. And it's that's 2 for 2 for Kevin, right?
2 for 2. But silver lining. Well, not a silver lining, but something to take note of. This is from the lawyer, Jeannie Harrison. "Mr. Doe was a dignified, kind, middle-aged man traumatized by Spacey's alleged sexually depraved attack. As a result of the case, other victims from around the world have reached out to our firm. Mr. Doe believed their harrowing stories, and in his final months, he looked forward to standing up for all of them. His fight for justice is still very much alive."
So, there's others, for sure.
Victims from around the world.
Maybe in Africa.
Maybe in England.
So, remember, Spacey was on that plane on the Lolita Express with Clinton and Chris Tucker and Epstein.
We don't need to mention Tucker.
Yeah.
It just feels very weird.
It's strange. But in Africa, doing, I think it was AIDS stuff, like AIDS charity stuff. Maybe he was spreading AIDS.
Well, very
Sorry. I wish probably...
Allegedly. I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that makes that all the darker, because if we know anything, it's that these people definitely love preying on people from the third world, right?
Right.
Yeah, so
something to watch. Pretty crazy. Coinky Dink. Just
Yeah.
whoops, died.
hate when that happens. And we also don't know how they died yet, right?
No.
Yeah, that has not been released, which is a little strange.
Yeah.
So here is something from Crazy Days and Nights from 2012.
Now, does everyone know Crazy Days and Nights?
Well, why don't you tell them?
Okay, we've talked about them before. Crazy Days and Nights is a quote-unquote gossip site run by NT, an anonymous, quote, entertainment lawyer. Shout out NT if you're listening.
Is it sort of like a actor that's rumored to be doing it too?
There's
Downey
a bunch
Jr.
of... that's not real.
It's not real?
No, they have a bunch of theories about, like...
How he gets this info?
Yeah, and I've heard some names about who are possible sources that I'm not going to say on the pod.
Out of fidelity to our master. I do love NT.
Same, and I've been reading him for years. And
Yeah.
in fact, I don't know if I ever told you, but I once emailed him a hot tip when I lived in LA.
Really?
Yeah, it was about I at a bar in Echo Park. Jennifer Lawrence was there, and she was really drunk, and she was talking to her guy friends and was just being really, I don't know, should I tell this story?
Yeah, absolutely.
She was being really crass, and was like, I haven't had sex in 8 months. And was like, kind of like, whatever. And her friend was like, well, we can get out of here. And she's like, I don't want any dick. I want good dick. Or something like that.
Oh, okay.
No, she's very cross.
Yeah. Do you think she still wants good dick? So here's a blind item. No longer blind. He actually, later, sometimes he updates blind items telling people who they're about. From 2012. You would never know it by looking at this used to be all movie actor who is now on a fairly hit television show, but he is a sex-crazed nympho. The thing is, he only likes guys. He is one of those actors who never actually bothered to come out and say he's gay, but everyone just kind of assumes he is. There have never been any girlfriends, and no one has ever come out and asked him about his sexuality. On his show, he plays a straight guy, and the rest of his roles seem to be more asexual than anything else. Anyways, here's where we get to the meat of the matter. One of his most proud sexual conquests was taking the virginity of this former A-list tweener, which would be a tween actor. He did it at a basketball game. He never stops talking about that story, and now he had 15 minutes and made it happen. And he never spoke to that tweener again. So he here skipping along later in it. One time he took the date away from this A-list movie actress he had co-starred with in a very big movie, and then spent an hour in the bathroom. And then our actor brought him back out and said, "I'm through with him. He's all yours again." So, to put that differently, he went up to his co-worker, this other actress's boyfriend, took the boyfriend to the bathroom for an hour, and then came back and was like, "Oh, he's yours."
Ugh.
That's like, that's Kevin Spacey Joker shit right there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you think I got these
No.
scars? By sucking off your boyfriend for an hour.
You know, it was so crazy too. I just remembered when the Spacey allegations came out, and then he was like, "I've been keeping a secret for so long. I'm gay."
Yeah,
like that was his response.
Well, now that's like the classic move for anyone to do, is just to be like, there's also this other thing about me that like for some reason made me like make this person give me a hand job in 1997.
Yeah.
I mean, it was obviously like a deflection, but it kind of worked. There's a lot of people out there who are like Spacey innocent.
No, there aren't.
Look at the comment section under any Kevin Spacey video. Yes, there are.
Really?
Yeah, there are a lot. There's
This
people
is astroturfed. I bet there's like a Share Blue, but for fucking... What if Share Blue... That's
Whoa.
Clinton.
That Share Blue is a Share Blue for pedophiles. It's Clinton's thing. It's run by David Brock.
Ugh.
And
God,
what's that other guy, the
imagine
spirit
the
cookie
shit
motherfucker?
that David Brock has seen.
Oh, I mean, probably many
And
nude
Neera.
children. Neera, oh God. Neera, yeah, she's drank some blood before.
Allegedly.
So, speaking of drinking blood, I think we should move on to Ed Buck.
Ugh, God. So Ed Buck is... Let's call him an orbiter.
Yeah, I keep seeing him referred to as a mega donor.
Well, okay. He's not formally Epstein related,
No.
but he is Clinton related.
Which, 7 degrees of Jeffrey Epstein.
Are all
That's pretty high
Clintons.
up in the degree.
Right. He's also, he's a big donor to Barack Obama.
The president? Barack Obama?
No, Barack Obama the plumber. Yes,
Oh.
the president.
Damn.
And so much so that he got a coveted photo op on Air Force One.
Yeah, I am looking at this photo right now.
Was it a good photo?
Yeah, they are. It's like there's a statue of Ball, and they're all on their knees, and there's like this blood everywhere. This is sick. Air Force One is huge. My God.
That's
yeah.
not
So he's also like a busybody.
Yeah, kind of somewhat of a weird philanthropist.
But like just in LA, I've been looking into, he is a type that many of you, I also, for many people who don't know, I'm on the city council of San Francisco.
No, you're not.
And for anybody else who regularly attends city council meetings, you will be familiar with this type. The sort of frail, kind of withered before his time, skinny white guy. It is a type, a bit older, who has kind of a demeanor to him. Like, I'm whiny. It's the non-Jewish Jew, to quote Isaac Deutscher. And just makes himself known on every issue. And eventually always runs for office, which Ed Buck himself did. I'm looking at his campaign page right now.
What did he run for?
He ran for city council of West Hollywood. Way-ho. Way-ho.
Weho.
We-ho. No, only
We
you ho,
ho.
Liz.
No.
I don't ho. Yeah, he ran for city council, West Hollywood in 2007. He got, guess how many votes?
3.
Well, it ends
don't
at
know.
1,373.
Oh, well, that was close.
It's actually about 10% of the vote. And he's listed his occupation as volunteer animal rescuer.
So-
That's gross. If you think about what he actually did. What did he do?
Okay, Leah, let's back it up for a second.
Yeah.
Brace, why are we talking about Ed Buck?
Ed Buck has been arrested.
He's in the clink. Mm-hmm. Why?
Yet another dead black person was found in his house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's put emphasis on another.
Yeah, another one. That's what Ed Buck was saying to the coroner. He was like, "Hey, I got another one." Yeah, actually, that's
So this is the thing that's been, like we said, this is not the first time this has happened, where bodies of young black gay men have been found in Ed Buck's home or discarded close to Ed Buck's home after drug overdoses.
yeah,
And the police have looked into this before and declined to prosecute.
yeah.
So this is a shift here.
Yeah, so even when I believe it was the last body found, the police went into his home and found like lots and lots and lots of drug paraphernalia, and like it was clear kind of what operation he was running here. Still no charges, right?
Yeah.
And they even found the diary from one of these young men, I believe Mr. Moore, who said about Ed Buck getting him addicted to drugs and giving him more and more. If it didn't hurt so bad, I'd kill myself, but I'll let Ed Buck do it for now.
So let's zoom out for a second.
Yeah.
This is a Democratic donor affiliated closely with the Clintons, with Obama,
Yep.
but closer with the Clintons, I would say.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Who basically has been for years, has picked up a habit of picking up gay, black, sometimes homeless prostitutes, bringing them home with him, providing them with drugs, watching them shoot up or smoke meth, to the point of killing them.
Yes,
Okay.
several times. And or there was also been many other people who have just OD'd at his house and have made it.
But he is really providing these drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Even to people who weren't like really into them to begin with, right? In fact, methamphetamine seems to actually be a kink for him. Methamphetamine itself.
Yeah. So, this is a quote from basically a mother of one of the victims who said he would supply heroin, meth, and other drugs to smoke or use with a needle. Buck would pleasure himself at the sight of my son using drugs. She asserted that her son's friends told her, the bigger the cloud of smoke, the bigger reward from Buck, who, quote, would excitedly encourage her son to increase his dosage by saying, more, I'll give you $500 more.
So, Mr. Buck, this is from the lawsuit from one of the deceased's relatives against Ed Buck. Mr. Buck, who they alleged had a predatory and injurious system of soliciting black men and watching them cling to life while battling symptoms of methamphetamine toxicity after he intravenously administered large doses of the drug to him. So meth obviously is part of some people's sex lives, right? This is beyond that. This is a semi-necrophiliac, right?
This is like really twisted.
Yeah, because obviously some people, like I was saying, use meth as sort of like a sex aid so they can, whatever, have sex longer or do different stuff or less inhibitions. Absolutely not. I'm a former methamphetamine addict myself. And while my penis did not work even a little bit when I was on meth, do not recommend it. It's not a safe drug to use. It's very bad for your body. But he got off what seems like on the OD itself.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the entire like gratification was like derived from the person dying.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Or
it's
coming
like
close
a
to death.
predatory. I mean, this is like literal sociopathic,
Yeah.
insane. This is completely insane.
Yeah, and there's
And there's
There's
no
a-
way these are the only bodies.
there's a good way to look at it, which isn't that, Ed Buck is this, Democratic fundraiser, which he is, that like happens to be into this, into black men and also happens to use drugs with them, and sometimes accidents happen. The best way to look at it is he's a serial killer,
Yeah.
because that's the point of this. And there are actually rumored to be other bodies in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Allegedly rumored.
Well, that is, yes. It is alleged that there is a rumor out there.
Allegeding.
That there are 2 other deaths that can be connected to Ed Buck that happened about 7 or 8 years ago in Charlotte, North Carolina at a hotel. But same demographic of victim.
One thing I just want to return to really quick
Mm-hmm.
is that line. Because I can't stop thinking about this. My brain is such a dark place right now. Which is, the bigger the cloud of smoke, the bigger reward from Buck. And how much that reminds me of what we talked about on our Patreon episode this week, where we talked about how Ghislaine and Jeffrey would tell these young girls, the more you do, the more you make.
Yeah.
And referring to massages. So if you take off your top, you get paid more. If you take off the rest of your clothes, you get paid more. If you touch yourself, you get paid more. If you touch him, you get paid more. And that the stakes increase along with the money. This is the depravity of the bourgeois mind.
Yeah.
And these two things are tied together intrinsically. Because it's the pushing of boundaries of another person, tied up with money, by the way,
Yeah.
to the point of killing them for this sick bourgeois pig's gratification.
And there's also, the humiliation aspect of it too. I mean, before, none of these girls in Palm Beach obviously had given erotic massages before or had sex with
No.
55-year-old
Yes, it's the
men
transgression.
before.
It's built.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
And like Gamma Moore's lawsuit I was reading from, he had never used methamphetamine before.
I think a lot of these boys hadn't.
Yeah, and I think that part of what they want to do is they like think like I can
corrupt them.
They're my sort of plaything, right?
Exactly.
They'll do what I say.
It's domination.
Yeah, and it's interesting that both of these men, of course, were liberals, because I think a lot of liberals think of themselves as like, well, I'm above that. Like I don't, I'm not. I don't treat people like dirt. I think everyone's equal or whatever, but they don't.
I mean, I don't even think that has anything to do with it. I think it's just this idea of when you are that, wealthy, when you conceive of yourself as
Yeah.
in a class above other humans, you don't see them as human. You see them as things for your pleasure that you can buy, because you can buy anything.
Well, that's sort of what I was saying. It's like
Yeah.
there's no difference between it. There's no like ideological difference between like liberal and conservative or anything. It's about like, if you have money, you see people as sort of
absolutely,
these subjects
absolutely.
that you can do whatever you want, do whatever you'd like with.
Yeah, and I bet, honestly, I bet it's like when, I'm sure it didn't start this way, because it's like it's like you get bored by the first transgression, so you've got to like push past it even further, and then you add more money, and then you push past even further, and then you add more money, and it gets sicker and sicker and sicker.
Yeah, and I've been reading about some of this chemsex stuff.
Oh God, I don't know. I might have to not. I'm gonna tune out for this, but we should talk about it.
Okay, well, why don't you do some chems? Wake up.
I don't do that. I'm gonna have some kombucha though. Nature's Chem.
Chemsex, she is drinking a kombucha full of GHB. Chemsex is using chemicals during sex, right? It's mostly like a male gay thing. I mean, I remember this has been around for a while, right? I mean, people have always used drugs around sex, sometimes
Sex drugs.
That's the only way they can get sex is if they have drugs. But chemsex is relatively, I think, recent-ish, especially in its popularity. It's known. I had always heard of it as called party and play, P&P for short, which is the act, and I believe this to be the case, of taking methamphetamine while having sex. And I think it, again, this has not been, anecdotally, this has not been the case for me. But I guess if your dick works a certain way or something, if you take meth, it will make it not finish or whatever. You can go for hours or days even. And there was another.
Who's got the time?
Yeah, but yeah, or desire. There's a case in the UK that happened with a man named Stephen Port, who did basically the same thing. 4 deaths. He was a little bit of an older man, I think similar to Ed Buck's age. And it was also, although not all Ed's victims were young, all this guy's victims were young. They were white. But he would take them over, or he would pay for them if they were prostitutes, and he would inject them full of methamphetamine, and they would die, and he would dump their bodies. And he was eventually caught. And it's a similar sort of thing.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been getting deep into this. They're like, it can be it can add to a sort of level of danger in some of these sex scenes because meth psychosis is very real. And when you combine doing something like a dangerous drug with sex, where, you know, you might be inclined to do something more than you normally would just out of desire, or out of like a desire for sex, or a desire to fit in, or just desire not to say no, it can lead you down some pretty dangerous things. Like there's stories of people overdosing on GHB at a party and then just sort of being thrown in the trash can outside to die. I read a pretty harrowing first-person account actually in BuzzFeed about somebody who was relatively normal person, which a lot of these people are. This is not just like some people who only do this. This is like people that, like, I know people who do this, who, you know, did it at a party. 6 days later, you know, he's like walking into like a Manchester canal. And I think a lot of people, I mean, I'm a drug addict, right? Like, I know how to use drugs. I used to use drugs every single day for years intravenously. And for me, so I get what I'm doing. I know what I'm taking, I mean, for the most part. But I think for a lot of people, when it's just sort of something that's wrapped up in their sex lives, they don't maybe get it as much. And it's ripe for abuse from people like Ed Buck.
So, just to pull back, Ed Buck was arrested.
Yes.
On Tuesday, not in connection with the dead bodies that were found in his house. But he was charged with battery, maintaining a drug house, which is kind of okay, and administering methamphetamines. And so the charges stem from a 37-year-old man that Buck allegedly gave meth to, and caused a non-fatal overdose. So the police are apparently, supposedly, quote unquote, still investigating the bodies that were found at his house. Didn't get charged for that. Getting charged with a non-fatal overdose. So it's a real question about exactly what these charges are going to be.
Yeah.
If he's going to be able to post bail.
Because he's a multimillionaire, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of unclear how he got his money, though.
Yeah, it's very concerning that the famously stand-up LAPD.
Oh, they've been doing stand-up?
Stupid. Was not interested in basically prosecuting him for the death of 2 young men.
Yeah. And like the numerous other 911 calls from other ones being like, hey, I'm ODing at this guy's house. I read there's a pretty gross detail of one of his victims was trying to call 911 and he was stopping them from doing it. And by the way, California has a good Samaritan law. So if you call 911 when you're ODing, or you call 911 when someone is ODing, I believe you can't get arrested. So it's, the reason he's doing that is not because he's afraid that he'll get busted for a little bit of crystal.
Yeah, so I guess activists in WeHo in particular have been basically trying to get Ed Buck arrested for a really long time, and basically investigating this sort of like predatory that there's, a larger culture around the kind of predatory abuse of homeless gay teens, basically, and the kind of like, drug culture, this chemsex stuff you're talking about, weird kind of race play with older men.
Yes.
And that it's part of a larger sort of sick social scene.
Yeah, it's the racial aspect of this, of course, not lost on anyone. And it's God only knows what is in Ed Buck's heart. But I don't think he's doing this out of a deep and abiding love for our African brothers and sisters.
No. So, it's a case to keep your eyes on. It's pretty dark, but definitely, I think a lot of people have been kind of waiting for this to happen, for Ed Buck to be arrested, including a lot of questionable actors on the right.
Yeah.
Because of his ties to Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. But we are nonpartisan here.
Yeah. We want
them all taken down.
Yeah, I want Ed Buck to go down because I hate drug dens.
Yes.
But yeah, no, they're all, all these fucking sickos.
They're all going down.
Yeah, by one of our insane fans with a .22 rifle.
Allegedly, don't do that.
Many rounds in
No.
it. Not California legal. Has the pistol grip when he's being transferred from his cell to the courthouse.
Okay, come on. Let's just...
On September 31st. No. So, Ed Buck's...
Oh, are we still talking about him?
I just want to say this to you.
Ed
Buck's...
We're done talking about him.
I was reading... Okay.
Oh, no, go on.
I was reading his, Ballotopedia page, and I have his platform. He was on the Save West Hollywood campaign slate, and I regret to inform you that much like myself, Ed Buck is a NIMBY. Protect renters' homes from demolition, stop mega development, preserve our neighborhoods, save our urban village, something I don't care about. I despise villages. Restore your voice in the city's future, something I also don't care about either. It's your voice doesn't, what's that mean? My voice is what matters. And take down the for sale sign at City Hall. I also am confused as why they were selling West Hollywood City Hall. Because, West Hollywood, it's its own city.
Yeah, I do know that.
Which is, take whatever that means. It's all LA. But anyways, yeah.
Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah. Well,
just kidding,
we're talking
guys.
about Ed Buck, not Kevin Spacey.
I'm kidding. They're both terrible.
So now down to little St. James Island part of our podcast to talk about the one and only Jeffrey
Epstein.
Franzak Epstein.
No.
And one of the most batshit articles to have come out since his murder at the hands.
It's so good. So when we recorded last, it was like the day it came out, so we didn't get to it yet. So maybe some severe ep heads I've probably already read this.
But it wasn't one of the ones that made a big splash.
It didn't actually, which is kind of weird.
It wasn't written by some fucking 23-year-old ex-blogger writing for the fucking Cut. I'm just kidding. Those Cut articles are pretty good. Just kidding.
Do you know who it was written by? Edward J. Epstein, no relation.
Oh my God.
No relation.
Yeah, it is. He's not a relation.
Which is just so funny. Okay, so the article we're talking about is called My Tea with Jeffrey Epstein, a tale of mysterious airline upgrades, bounce checks, and a fembot named Sophia.
So I want to be clear. A fembot this is a misuse of fembot.
I think so too. I was going to say so.
Have big ass titties.
Well, it's also just, fembot is like Austin Powers. Can you do Austin Powers?
Would you come on this airplane with me, baby? Would you? Yeah!
Have you been Austin Powers for Halloween?
Literally, I alternate every year, and this isn't a joke, between Austin Powers, one year, Dracula the next, and the only difference is that I put white face makeup on for Dracula.
You would be a cute Nixon.
What? Liz?
What?
A Nixon?
Yeah.
How could I do Nixon? I can't think of a joke there, but I'm not a crook.
I don't know. It just came to me.
I'd love to break into the hotel of your pussy.
No, Brace.
Do I make you horny, Khmer Rouge?
What
Did
if
I bomb your capital, Prince Sihanouk? Did I, baby?
All right. Sorry.
pretty
Halloween.
good.
Hallows Eve is coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go as Liz.
No, you're not.
Yeah, you're right. So Jeffrey Epstein was interviewed or had tea and many interactions with this other Epstein.
Yeah, Epstein squared.
We finally have...
This is an Epstein on Epstein.
Exactly. Well, looks like we got an Epstein train, boys. Choo-choo. Yeah, so where to begin with this?
Oh my god, it's so funny.
What the fuck is airmail.news, by the way? I've literally never heard of this website.
I know, but I think it's funny. They make the whole article look like it's Vanity Fair, but it's literally airmail.news.
Yeah, it's for the world traveler.
Well, it does seem very hoity-toity. Mm-hmm. So he first meets him. All these names are so hilarious. Jeffrey Epstein was only a would-be master of the universe when I first met him in 1987 at movie producer Coco Brown's annual Halloween party in New York. I was standing with Isabel Goldsmith, the eldest daughter of the financier Jimmy Goldsmith, when Epstein and his brother Mark joined us. A surfeit of Epsteins, Isabel remarked. Like, what the fuck is this? This is so...
A surfeit? I've never actually even heard the word surfeit pronounced out loud. When do people say that?
Well, when there's lots of Epsteins, I guess.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's funny, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
We've heard Jimmy Goldsmith's name mentioned previously by someone else. They also met Epstein.
Piver.
Yes.
Stuart Piver did. Yeah, Jimmy Goldsmith, is he Jewish?
Yes.
Don't take this the wrong way, listeners. It's Jimmy Goldsmith, by the way, not Goldstein, Liz.
I didn't...
Did you say Goldstein?
No, I said Goldsmith.
Oh, maybe I just thought Goldstein in my head. That's why I was asking if
Did
he
I
was
say
Jewish.
Goldstein?
Did you? We're gonna have to play that tape back later.
Jimmy Goldsmith.
Perhaps a little slip there. Yeah, this is insane.
So further down, they're talking, and Epstein explains his business. He says, I'm sort of a financial bounty hunter. So this is in 1987. I'm sort of a financial bounty hunter, he said, with a big, I know more than you grin that rarely left his face throughout our tea. He explained that he hunted down hidden money for a fee. He described the convoluted network of hiding money in Andorra, Fiji, Gibraltar, and the Cayman Islands in such vivid detail that I thought he might be in business of hiding as well as finding it. He dropped so many names in the realm of money machinations, such as Adnan Khashoggi, Aristotle Onassis, and Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan,
Oh, good job.
that his stories, though intriguing, didn't quite add up. So this is interesting. So 87. So this is after he's at Bear Stearns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well after.
Yeah.
So we have heard these names before. Khashoggi, certainly Onassis. Mm-hmm. And
For our listeners who don't know who Aristotle Onassis is,
oh, please go ahead.
Jackie's husband.
Yes.
So you remember how JFK was a president? His wife, fucking dime piece, Jackie Kennedy. JFK, pow. He gets fucking someone takes out the fucking thing, gets him down. He's out. Jackie's like, oh no, I gotta get some dick. Goes over to Greece, meets a shipping tycoon, Aristotle. Is that a Greek? I guess that is a Greek name, famously so.
Don't name your kid Aristotle.
Yeah, don't name your kid Aristotle.
That's a weird kid name.
Yeah.
This is my baby, Aristotle. It's
Yeah.
awful.
Well, at this point, he's an adult because he's having sex.
I know, but I'm just saying, at one point he was a baby.
Yeah, true. I love to think about that when I'm having sex.
No, I just love thinking about that when I meet people. Like, this is my baby, Linda. It's just very strange.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that is weird. Be like, hey, this is my child, Maud.
Well, that's like kind of chic now.
That is chic now.
But it is funny when it's kind of like, this is my baby, Gary.
Yeah. Well, Gary's short for Gerald. Brace.
Harold Gerald.
Brace is a good one for a baby out there. Anyone who's pregnant, going to pop soon. You haven't picked a name.
Okay, back
it's
to this
ethnic.
piece.
Any ethnicity. Brace. Yeah. Aristotle Onassis is Jackie Onassis' husband, former Jackie Kennedy.
Yeah. So, but also, I just want to point that Adnan Khashoggi was also famous for being a bit of a financial bounty hunter.
Yeah, and like an arms dealer.
Arms dealer, money dealer,
all sorts.
Lots of dealers.
And
Dealer's choice.
Aristotle, of course, shipping magnate. If you do shipping, you're basically a criminal. Like that's how it works.
Yeah. So there's a whole So you got a whole lot of interesting folks.
And the weird thing is is financial bounty hunter. That is such a strange way to describe yourself.
So I feel like I remember reading a piece too where Epstein said the same thing.
He often bragged about it back then.
Yeah, and he mentioned in Africa.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because it's like, what are you recovering? Like what we gave them?
Yeah. Like, are you going to the blood diamond mine to be like, De Beers?
You taking all the money back from friggin'
the IMF comes in and like, hey, let's fuck your shit up. And people are like, please no, but we have to. And then he's like, oh, actually, you guys owe me money too.
Yeah, it's like Jeffrey Epstein rolls in. Like,
just kill him. Well, I guess someone eventually did. Yeah, it seems like bullshit to me. It reminds me of a series of mysteries I used to read by John D. MacDonald, where the guy was a bit of a financial bounty hunter himself, Travis McGee. So he is much like Travis McGee, Mr.
I mean, I believe it. This author, the other Epstein.
Mm-hmm. This other character.
Yeah, I don't trust this Epstein, but I do trust our Jeffrey.
Yes.
I think that, I believe it. I could see this happening.
So, Epstein is a theme in this article, or something that's mentioned rather several times, is that Epstein has the ability to upgrade this guy's flight to first class.
Yeah, but they focus on this for so much. It's so funny. It's like he basically like had a bunch of stickers because I guess back in the 80s, you could just walk onto a plane without a ticket, basically.
Yeah.
But they would just put a sticker on your ticket.
And guns and shit.
Yeah, you could do whatever you wanted.
Anybody who didn't hijack a plane between like the years 1920 and like 1991, about 9, I guess maybe 2001, was a fucking mark, dude. You could literally just bring whatever you wanted on there.
Remember the smoking section on airplanes? I mean, I don't because I wasn't around then.
Yes.
I've seen it in the movies.
Yeah, that's why I bought the Juul in the first place, so I could blast Juul on planes. Unlike you fucking losers, you have to grip your fucking, what are they called? The things that you rest your hands on. Armrests.
Okay, back to the article. So the whole thing is that he just had a round of stickers, and he would just put a first class sticker on your ticket, and then the ticket person would be like, I guess you have a first class ticket. I mean, it doesn't take a genius.
The reason that he put this in the article is to sort of be like, Epstein is a fraud, right?
Yeah, this is kind of a catch me if you can sort of vibe to
like,
this whole thing.
Looks like he was actually doing it this back way. Yeah. I want to say that the model in the Tom Ford ad that appears in this article, I'm not sure if you're seeing the same one, she is wearing a Cat Williams fuzzy like cowboy hat. And I'm not sure what isn't Tom Ford itself a modeling agency?
No, Tom Ford is a designer.
Oh, well, Tom Ford is obviously designing and modeling their hats, his or her hats, on Cat Williams, because this is absolutely Cat Williams' outfit, this whole way
Please
down.
don't comment on fashion.
Listen, you know about fashion, I know about Cat Williams. All right? This is some Cat Williams shit. I wish Cat Williams could... I wish he could give you the what for.
Jimmy Goldsmith warned me to be careful with Epstein. It was advice I stupidly did not immediately heed. Mo. I hate the tone of this whole thing.
Yeah, this is funny. Bitch writing. If you write like this, you're a fucking, like, I'm sorry. This is like, this writing is like how Jay Robinson looks.
Oh, God. So, lots of stuff about the first class tickets. He's very concerned about that. Then it sort of gets this gets a little interesting. He kind of seems to insinuate that Epstein was running a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. Well, which came out a lot when Epstein sort of rebroke in the news, is that people were like, how did he get his money? How did he get his money? You and I know that he got his money from the United States government for the purposes of entrapping famous people and getting pictures of them with
running
children.
Guns,
running
whatever.
Yeah, rich. Because he's white. He thinks he's white Khashoggi. Bitch, I'm white Khashoggi. Feeling like white Khashoggi. This guy seems to be like, oh, well, he was actually tricking people. The whole theme of this article is that Epstein was basically a con man.
Yeah, that he was basically stealing money. So he says that someone from Simon & Schuster told him that he'd given Epstein $70,000 to invest in a deal to take over some chemical company.
That's not that much money.
Sent the money. Well, in the 88, it's a good amount of money.
Yeah, don't use a racist number to me again, but yeah.
Epstein stops returning his calls, basically walks out with the money. You know, this was not the first one. He says Vera Wang's father also got swindled.
Who?
Vera Wang, who's a fashion designer. Her father, who's an investor. Some insurance companies also got swindled. So
far, I see no crime. Let me be perfectly clear. I'm not sure that's
Let me
imitating.
be frank.
Let me be frank. Stealing is fine. Once when I was in let's say a rehabilitation facility, they gave me a battery of psychological tests. And then one of the questions was, is stealing okay? Which was just yes or no. I answered yes. And they gave me the diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder because of that.
So this Epstein falls out with our Epstein.
Yeah. Who, by the way, wrote a book called Deception, The Invisible War Between the KGB and the CIA.
Yeah, let's talk about Limited Hangout.
Yeah.
So he says, in early 1989, unable to come up with a better subject. I wrote my, quote, Wall Street Babylon column. Apparently this is a famous thing. About Epstein, whom I didn't identify by name because he refused to speak to the fact checker from Manhattan Inc. It's
so
also
Manhattan
like
Inc.
80s
was the
sounding.
name of the magazine or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's all very like, I don't know.
All of these things have just been lost to the winds of time.
I know.
Nobody
It
remembers
sounds
Manhattan
so charming.
Inc. Yeah.
I love it.
I know.
Like details. I miss details.
What's details?
Like old school details. Remember John was editor.
I don't know that. John the Kennedy?
Yeah. Was he at Details?
I think he was
Or
doing...
was it Esquire?
No, he did his own magazine, George.
John Jr.
Women don't know shit about John. John was a pimp. You are a of thought, Liz. John would never stoop to edit someone else's magazine.
No,
The guy's
it was
so nice.
George, but there was... Maybe it was just a cover piece.
That's
that
the
was
sound of
Details.
me being correct.
Okay. Its thesis of the column was that the takeover game had become so lucrative that even small guys who had their power breakfasts at the Regency Deli instead of the Regency Hotel, I mean, who knows what any of this means, could play. So this is all about, basically he writes a column not naming Epstein, but kind of exposing or a little insight into some of his
corporate mercenary stuff.
Schemes
Yeah,
that he
this
was.
piratery of the boardroom.
Yes. And that's when Epstein stopped speaking to this Epstein.
Well, yeah, because you call him small fry. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he mentions, of course, more Ponzi schemes that he kind of connects to him.
So then he says that he had a corporate detective. Mm-hmm. So this is a hired hand. Contacts him in 1996. They were doing discrete investigations into Epstein's background. So that's a very little interesting tidbit.
Yeah. I know. I would love to talk to Jules Kroll, who is probably dead because I haven't Googled him yet.
He told me that a board member of Les Wexner's company was concerned about Epstein's influence over Wexner. They had already determined that Epstein had dropped out of college, worked as a roofer in Brooklyn. So I hadn't heard that yet. Faked his resume to get a teaching job at Dalton, the private school on New York's Upper East Side. This did not come as a total shock, even though Epstein had told me he had a degree in nuclear science.
Epstein loved saying that shit. It rules.
This is the line that I love too. Because I had always assumed that, like Jay Gatsby, he had invented himself. Jay Gatsby? My man is not Gatsby.
Oh my God. I just remember Jules Kroll. I have heard this name before. They were in charge of security at the World Trade Center.
What?
Yeah. The managing director of Kroll at the time was Jerome H. Hauer, who ran Mayor Rudy Giuliani's Office of Emergency Management from 96 to 2000. He is the key individual that pushed for its office to be placed in Silverstein's World Trade Center Building 7. I think this is an anti-Semitic article I'm reading, but it doesn't. That's probably still true. Yeah. So Kroll was in charge of security.
That's weird.
Yeah, in charge of security on Building 7, too. What do you think happened to Building 7?
We're not doing that yet.
Okay.
We're not gonna...
But we will do that?
Maybe.
Okay, because okay.
Maybe we can have the Chapo Boys on and do a whole...
Building 7.
Just 9/11 episode.
Yeah. Sorry to distract so much. That was an important tidbit that needed to get out there.
Yeah.
Back to airmail.
I mean, this article is very long. I will say that a lot of people focused on this little tidbit. I didn't find this particularly interesting, but so he sees him again in 2013. He was contacted by Jeffrey because this Epstein wrote an article in the New York Review of Books on Nabokov, and Epstein wanted to discuss it with him. It says, Epstein came in accompanied by Svetlana, another of his assistants. She was almost as tall as Jennifer, so 2 assistants. Then a 3rd assistant came in the room, Leslie. As I would learn, he had no shortage of comely female assistants. Leslie served tea and left with Jennifer. Epstein, wearing a tracksuit, good look, sat at the head of the table. Except for his gray hair, he looked very much the same as the last time I saw him in 1989. He began the conversation by saying that Nabokov was his favorite writer, and he kept a copy of Lolita next to his bed on his plane. He wanted to know what the author was like. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so...
Wait, are you telling me that this child molester liked the book Lolita?
I mean...
It's almost like he's trying to tell us something. Also, this motherfucker could just be making this up.
I know. I'm like, this is a little too on the nose.
I get a little bit of a lie for this.
Yeah.
The way more interesting stuff comes later, but...
But yeah, I'm just like, this like reading of like basically Lolita being a novel for just like perverts is so pedestrian that I...
Pedestrian? Sorry.
No, it is. It's terrible.
I've never read it, but...
Okay, well, it's completely sophomoric, and the idea that that's what this novel is about is ridiculous.
Yeah. What's it about?
All right. We're not doing that.
We're not doing that?
Oh, I'm not fucking talking like literary criticism.
He also talks about, of course, that he's inventing a robot that can't fuck but can take out old people.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Sorry, wait. Let's go back to that part.
Yeah, a robot can't give no pussy. Oh, no. Oh, you want... Okay. So he told me his main interest was cutting edge artificial intelligence. He said that he was funding a group in Hong Kong. Funding a group in Hong Kong, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a little throwback to right now.
Well, we know there was a news article, a news piece item about that, actually.
What?
The AI firm that he was funding in Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
It's true.
Oh, I was talking about the protests. You and I have been funding these.
Oh, yeah, sure. Of
Yeah.
course.
So the Patreon money is going entirely to fund people to riot in Hong Kong.
Yes.
So yeah, they were trying to make the world's smartest robot, which obviously if you're making a robot, you try to make the world's smartest one. It's kind of a no-brainer right there.
But this is my favorite part.
That would have more empathy than a woman. Extremely low bar there.
Hey.
Yes. So he said one problem his robot team had was simulating the feel of human skin.
That is such a creepy sentence.
Yeah, just use human skin from dead people.
Oh. I just want to repeat that. Simulating the feel of human skin.
There are so many people out there probably listening to this podcast or other podcasts, but they're definitely podcast listeners that would like nothing more than a robot with empathy that had human skin.
What does more empathy than a woman mean? I just...
Dog,
What?
cat, even fish, probably.
You're
Rats,
such a jerk.
men.
All right, shut it down.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying about women, or especially this woman robot. We don't need more women. I don't know what this guy's talking about. There's so many already. There's like most people are women.
I do like this. His theory was that advances in medicine and biotechnology would result in an increasingly large population of centenarians.
Oh, I see what you're going with this. There's going to be a lot of old people or people who
That would
maybe
need assistance.
live forever. That would need assistance.
Oh, interesting.
At certain
yeah,
point,
I don't think that Jeffrey is like, oh, in our post-work Falk society, we're gonna need robots to take care of old people.
Yeah, Jeffrey's definitely more of a Morningstar guy. He's not a Novara fella. Yeah, but which is funny because at some point Epstein got blackpilled and was like, everyone's going to die. I need to impregnate 20 young girls a day. Like, this was still when Epstein was like, this is like, he's like Shingy here still. Like, he's full of hope. He knows that technology is going to save the future. And then, like, 10 years later, he's full on Liz Franzak. Like, the world is going to die.
What? I'm not blackpilled.
Yeah. All right.
We already established you're blackpilled.
You're red. True. Together, we make the dumb anarchy flag.
No, I am. If I would, I am not an anarchist.
You're right. The black stands for fascist. So yeah,
No.
it's he like definitely he doesn't really say what the 24-hour assistance would entail, but it definitely means the robot would be sucking you off 24 hours a day.
This is like pedophile jobs guarantee.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are those people who think that we should like cure pedophilia by making like robots for pedophiles.
That's not a cure. Okay,
Well, yeah.
this is not okay. No.
Uh-huh.
So I don't believe in sex robots.
Yeah, I know that. I don't know if that subject has come up, but I could. That's like just by context, I would assume you wouldn't. But yeah, you don't believe in sex robots.
Well, I just think that we, as a society,
we do live in one.
yes. I mean, I have a real problem with if we're going to invent consciousness, basically, that we're literally using it to create women to enslave and rape.
Yeah,
So I have a real problem with that.
coochie consciousness. Yeah, that's okay. I see what you're saying. What if they're not conscious though? What if it's just like
That's not what AI is.
Well, what if it's not an AI one? Like, what if it's just
No,
stupid?
if we're creating humans for the express purpose of having slaves,
Yeah.
like, I think we need to sit with that and think through that.
People have been thinking through that like since science fiction was invented.
Have you seen The Matrix?
Yeah,
No,
that's what the Matrix
obviously,
is.
I mean-
Robot.
Have you seen The Animatrix?
Okay, you guys
Just
are being-
because you're like science fiction stupid doesn't mean it actually is stupid,
Have you
Liz.
seen The Matrix Reloaded?
You've seen, yeah. Okay, well, I think.
You guys are being really fucking big jerks right now.
You don't think that sex robots can be real?
Have you seen The Matrix Revolutions?
I'm trying to make a point about, like, everyone is pushing for AI and robots, and
Yeah.
everyone thinks it's going to be a great...
I think
It's a thing that's just happening, and this conversation is not happening.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that a lot of people think it's A, inevitable, or B, that it should happen because, like, look at the way they're framing it. If that we don't have sex robots, there's going to be more mass shooters. I've seen it framed as, like, this is the solution to, like, incel, whatever.
Which
like,
is obscene.
Oh, absolutely. If the solution isn't that, like, it's probably more sense to destroy the internet than, like, to make sex robots.
Yeah, I mean, I did like, yeah. I mean, I'm basically a Luddite.
Yeah.
But also, incels and these are symptoms of a sick society.
Yeah.
That you cannot band-aid with more alienating technology.
Yeah. Well, isn't it something like 25% of people like don't have more than 3 close friends or something like that, or even it's like higher?
It's awful.
I mean, and the solution to that is obviously eventually going to be, well, now you have like a real robot friend. I made this movie her.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's
Clearly
not
it's
a
horrible.
society
But
that.
look at the people making this stuff. It's Jeffrey Epstein, and we've talked about how
No, it's also fucking sex dorks in our backyard.
that is the point I'm making. Is that all of those fucking guys? It's a spectrum of Epstein, right? Because they are. Think about what they're doing.
The
Epstein spectrum. Yeah. Like me, I'm on the spectrum.
No, you're not.
Not the Epstein one. I'm not telling you which spectrum I'm on. Yeah, but like these people, because like if we're going by what we were saying earlier, which I'm sympathetic to, and they're trying to create robot sex slaves that they can rape all day, then what makes them any different than Jeffrey Epstein, except they haven't had the opportunity to rape the thing that they want to rape yet?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that we need to put all of these people in prison.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we need to just ban the technology.
Yeah. No one talks about that. They always say, we must go forward. I'm not sure how having some fucking 15-year-old in Ohio who's never had more than 3 fucking sentence conversations with another person their own age, a sex robot to rape all day, is moving forward.
Yeah, also even if it is moving forward, then I've got some questions about progress.
Yeah. Me too. If they allow people like Liz Franzak to have a podcast,
Hey.
I have some questions about progress.
Hey, progress. Got some questions.
Yeah. Can we please take away women's right to vote?
All right, so I don't really want to talk about this article anymore because now we just went on that tangent.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I'm through. I'm gonna go fuck my sex robot.
No.
She'll listen to me.
There was a funny bit in the article about we did get our first little mention of someone I've been waiting for.
We did?
Mohammed bin Salman.
Oh, yes. Well, Mohammed bin Salman's been mentioned a few times.
No.
Oh, yes.
No. This was one of the first times that his name showed up. And I did get a little, for clump.
She did. I saw goosebumps the size of
I've been
pimples.
waiting, you guys. I've been waiting for Mr. MBS.
She
I
let
knew
out
it
a-
was coming. Knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, I, for one, believe there are bigger ties here between.
His flight, didn't he go to Riyadh? Right before
Yes,
the
wasn't
election?
he looking at buying property in Riyadh?
Didn't a passport that he had in his safe list his place of residence as Saudi Arabia?
It did. Our good friends and allies, Saudi Arabia, who were just so terribly attacked. Did you hear, Brace?
I did. It was their 9/11.
Their second 9/11.
Yeah, sticking your nose where it doesn't belong.
I wish it's actually. Do you think it's kind of their third 9/11 because they did threaten to 9/11 Canada?
That's what I was making reference to. They posted a meme, or not a meme, it was just a picture of a plane about to hit that stupid fucking tower in Canada. It said, sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. So good. They were like, this is an Arabic saying. I'm like, this is
Maybe
not.
they had already seen the blackface photo or the brown face photo.
He was dressed as...
He was in genie face.
Yeah, which I thought was... There's 3 more that have come out since then, too.
Wasn't his defense just I'm really into costumes?
Yeah. Which, in fairness, he is really into costumes.
It's not a bad defense, I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
It's way better than I was in the KKK.
Well, someone explained it to me earlier where it's possibly Fidel Castro's son. So technically, if he does brown face, it's
Wait,
okay.
Trudeau?
Yeah, he's Fidel Castro's son, maybe. It's the same way that Ronan Farrow might be what's that? The Dean Martin's friend, Frank Sinatra's son. I couldn't remember his name.
Dean Martin's friend?
Yeah, Frank's
God.
son. He's not as good a singer as Dean Martin. So, yeah, he could be. Yeah, he absolutely could. Look at him. And also, Trudeau's mother fucked like no one else. She ran away with Mick Jagger for months while her husband was premier or president or whatever they call it.
Prime Minister?
Yeah, Prime Minister. Which, come on, give me a break of Canada. But she fucked her way through North America, South America, Europe, probably not Eastern Europe, other parts of the world, maybe Asia, not sure. She fucked a lot. And he looks like Fidel Castro, so I choose to believe it. There's no proof he's Trudeau's son, the other Trudeau.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We got a little off the rails.
Yeah. My name is Brace Belden.
Oh, nice. I'm Liz.
Our producer is Young Chomsky.
This has been TrueAnon.
The Ep Files.
And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Let's go shoot. Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go shoot. Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go shoot. Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go shoot. Jeff.